Appreciate everybody being out. Beautiful day. A little wind, which will be good for the fellas. But just excited for this week. Been looking forward to this trip. A lot of planning's gone into it. We got to have a great week of preparation. I talked to our team about that today. That's been a real separator for us, I believe, since really the start of training camp, is our ability to prepare. Everybody getting the same amount of time, similar travel, all those things. It's going to be about what we can do with every moment we have to prepare for a really good team. Great quarterback, great coaching staff. A lot of skilled players on the offense to deal with for our defense, and attacking, impactful players at every level defensively that they have, and some dynamic kicking game players as well. So it's going to be a big-time challenge for our team. We got to have a great week of prep.
Devin, the catch that Justin made, the toe tap, he said that was something he tries to practice. But how do you simulate, or how does he simulate spectacular catches in practice? It seems like that would be pretty hard to do at full speed.
Yeah, I mean, Keenan does a really good job working in kind of just sideline catches. We do some work on it as a group on Fridays. It's part of kind of the scramble drill element to what we do. But, I mean, that was as simple of a route as you can have, really done in a really special way. The amount of ground he covered, the fact that he was able to cover 13 yards on a 6-step speed out is not something I had seen many times before, if ever. And then to do all that, playing that fast, covering that much ground, then to get his feet in and finish the catch like he did, one of one for sure. But yeah, Justin's a guy, like, when we've talked about his work ethic and how he treats every day as a chance to get better, those are some of the things he's working on, in addition to leading that receiver room and making sure all those guys are working, technique, fundamentals. Jordan Addison had a great catch over the middle on a dagger cut, climbing the ladder. It shows up, but I think Keenan and Tony do a great job with that room, and Justin is a prime example of, the best at his position in football, working on his craft on a daily basis, setting the tone for all of us. So spectacular play, though.
You said Aaron Jones changed the team. How has he changed the team?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where people can tell you, you can, first and foremost, you compete against them, which I had many times as a coach in this league, both here and previously. And then you hear about the player, you hear about people, the way they talk about him there locally, the way the fan base, his teammates. I know some of his teammates, former teammates up there. I know Aaron, and just the way Aaron's always talked about him. But then you get him here and you actually experience it, and it's an organic thing just by, his energy, his positivity. He's a great teammate, loves football, has really embraced this opportunity, and we've been really excited about him being a part of our football team since day one. And he's surpassed in many ways what I thought it could be early on, just as he transitions to something new and different for the first time in his career. He's been phenomenal.
What did you learn 2 years ago about playing overseas that you can apply this week?
Yeah, I think you have you get as solid of a preparation as you can, as if it was a normal week, and then you get to Thursday, you get on the plane, try to get these guys to get some sleep a little bit on the plane. But then when we get there, Friday is always a tough day, working through it as we have ourselves a Friday prep day. And then when we can get them some rest that night, and then they might be still feeling it a little bit Saturday, but light exposure, sleep, making sure when we're working, we're up and we're totally present. And then normally guys feel pretty darn good come Sunday, just the adjustment that happens. So we had a positive experience, but as I've told our guys, it's about what we do right now. Are we getting hydration? Are we sleeping? Are we getting proper nutrition leading into that flight? And once they close the doors on the flight, there's no coming back.
Evan, with Sam facing the Jets, do you feel any need to talk to him about that, or just kind of treat it like any other game?
No, I don't. I think what Sam's done such a great job of is focusing on doing his job, leading our offense, totally diving into the game plan and how he's going to positively run the show like he has. Been so happy with Sam, and I think he's going to focus on doing his job against a really talented defense, regardless of who the opponent is.
Going back to the preparation for London, just Mike Parsons and his team, the way that they catch you all there? Like, what can you say about the
Yeah,
challenge?
I mean, they talk about a stressful week for somebody, taking our entire outfit, over there, and our players seamlessly kind of feeling as if we just picked up and brought it all out there. That takes a lot of hard work by Mike and his staff, Tyler, his staff, Josh, and the strength staff. Everything about the nutrition, the food, when we get there, our ops people. This is really where I can rest peacefully. Rarely, but when I can do it because of the resources we have in this building and the great people that serve our players. And I know our players don't take it for granted for one day, but this is everyone, all hands on deck, being at their best this week for our players, to give them an opportunity to have feel at their best for that 3.5 hours on Sunday.
Are you going to hold off with TJ and Dalton this week?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. We will be opening TJ's window on Friday. Want to get his window opened up and get him going here. And then more than likely we're going to hold off on Dalton, and I'll circle back with you guys till after the bye. Friday gives us 21 days, Kev, and 21 days from then gives us the bye week and 2 football games with us playing on Thursday, the second week after the bye. So that gives us some flexibility at 20 days to have him either ready to go, see where he's at in his availability for the Lions game. And then, like I said, we have the flexibility for the following based upon, he's done a great job. He feels great, but we've got to get him acclimated back to football. So that's kind of the plan. I probably won't be, giving many daily updates on the when as far as his game day activation, but it's just going to be great to have him back on the grass with the guys. I know he's been really looking forward to it.
In that light, one more question. So will he go to London with you in practice
Yes.
Friday?
Yes.
The Saints game, the year that you played them, I believe you guys requested not to have the bye the next week.
Yep.
Did you make the same request this time, or are you okay with the bye falling after the London game?
Yeah, so there's a couple things that went into it. That was week 4, and we had a home game following that. There were some things where a home game more than likely wouldn't be possible that next week, so I did not, I wanted to take that into account. We're subject to the schedule. They do a great job. Mike North and the gang do a great job with giving you, some opportunity to have some dialogue, especially when you have a significant travel like this. But we just thought, get off to a good start, hopefully, and quite honestly expected to do so. Let's put everything we got into this trip, and then give the players a chance to kind of reset and lock and load.
Their offense has been maybe a little up and down, but you turn on the tape and you still see a lot of kind of vintage Aaron Rodgers, don't you?
Oh gosh, yeah. No, he's still. I showed the guys some throws he's made this morning. Just watching everything with flow, and as we get ready for the game plan. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, so he's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks to have played in our league, and very few people that I have the amount of respect for playing the position as special of a thrower of a football as maybe we've seen. And he's a supercomputer, like I said, back there, that is totally big field vision, sees everything, has the the ability to check and get to whatever he wants to get to. It's going to be a heck of a challenge. They've got really good skill players, a great back, and an O-line that's really doing a nice job on the line of scrimmage as far as the run and pass. So we're going to need to play really well. We're going to need to really prepare our players. That, like I like to say, it doesn't start this week to play him. It's an accumulation of all the work we've done to have a great plan and give the players the ownership to feel like they're a major part of how Sunday goes, not only by their performance but by their mental preparation as well.
Kevin, going back to Justin's catch, I think that was your 3rd challenge.
Yeah.
As a coach, obviously you guys saw it, you wanted to do it, but knowing the rule that you're right 3 times and you're still out of challenges, what's that like as a coach trying to handle?
That was quite honestly, when we had dialogue about that subtle change. If you got 1 challenge right, you can get the 3rd, as opposed to needing to get both of them right, which previously was how it went. Very rarely do you ever see that scenario coming up where you have 3 challenges that you end up being going the way you want it to go. Wish, the way the game ended, there was a couple plays there where, it would have been great to have a fourth one, depending on the spot of a ball or, how the end of game situation went. And to be in that, to get those three challenges, get them right, and then be still in that gray area before the 2-minute was unique for sure. So maybe we'll have an addendum proposal next year.
The fourth down, was that outside? That was outside of 2 minutes.
It was, and that was after the third challenge.
Possession, right? You could have thrown the flag there.
No, yeah, I could have. Yep.
Would you have?
Knowing that I think we still had, we still had 2 timeouts at that point. Knowing that if we don't get that overturned with the aggressive nature of the call, I do like to save 1 timeout for that onside kick situation. See, how they're going to maybe deploy their personnel there. I likely would have. You could watch it 1,000 times, and those plays are so tough. And I'm glad I don't have to spot the ball because those things happen really fast in real time, and those guys do the best job that they can.
Play clock wise, I think Sam took 2 delays in the first quarter, and then I think you banged a timeout in the second. Is there a communication thing there, or what's the flaw?
I do think we need to pick up our urgency, especially early on in games when we maybe have some multifaceted aspects to the play. Where it's one thing and he's done a phenomenal job getting us to the right play, but it's one thing to do that, but then just to have some awareness of the play clock. And that's just going to come with experience in this system. Each one of the systems are their own in this league, and play to play, what's on your plate can sometimes lead to that. I got to get the play call in as fast as I possibly can. When you're living in a world where you're 99.9% 11 personnel, you don't worry too much about personnel changes, but when you're going 21 to 12 to 11 to 12 to 21 to 11, then there's a third down, then you're back in 21, then to 12, and then you're going no huddle. There's a lot that goes into our coaching staff and our players being totally locked in so that we can maximize the play clock, get out of the huddle, get lined up, and quite honestly, I think the timeout I banged might have been when we were on defense, when there was they were kind of Aaron Rodgers-like rushing the ball when you're trying to get a sub in, and credit to them for that kind of execution of a pseudo play in that moment. But yeah, I've said it a couple times. I still think we're searching for that pre-snap, aspect of our offense, whether it's a 2nd and 5 run and we get a false start where we've got a good look for a play, or needing to exhaust some of our timeouts to avoid some of the delays. Just not the cleanest yet, and it's something that when we say we want to get a little bit better across the board, that would fall into that category for sure. And I've got all the confidence in the world in our offense to do that.
Last two.
Kevin, a lot of season left, obviously, but safe to say to this point you've exceeded external expectations at least. What were we missing at the beginning of the year? Those of us who tried to predict this team that you maybe liked that we weren't seeing?
I didn't pay a ton of attention to it, so I don't know what necessarily were the opinions. Everybody's entitled to them. But I do think the greatest thing about this league is we get to roll a ball out for 4 quarters and figure it out together. And sometimes we figure those things out on a little bit different timetable than maybe you guys do. I luckily get the opportunity to have a lot of moments where I get to talk to the team long before the first result, second, third, or fourth, whatever it is. And I tried to get out in front of this with my confidence with the team, feeling their confidence, and then see if we could trigger that as far as preparation, being totally focused on every day we get to work together, and be prepared for when the first time we get to compete, guys can have take that confidence in what we could be and start turning it into a reality. And I've liked the fact that we've done some great things from a defensive standpoint, forcing turnovers. We've done some good things offensively, playing the way we want to play, running the football, being explosive and generating some marriage of the run and the pass, and then being a little bit better situationally on the weighty downs as well. And then the kicking game, I think Will and Ryan, so all of which when I think about it, it's not necessarily a surprise to me. It's just guys taking the confidence of what might be out in front of us and turning it into action, and our players deserve 100% of the credit for that, while also, trying to ignore some of maybe those not so rosy projections or expectations.
What's the free agent class, man? I mean, you've gotten contributions from Darnold and Jones to, depth guys.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you brought in a lot of players, including Stefan at the end of training camp, and it seems like they've all contributed. Like, have you been pleasantly surprised at all by the mass contributions, or what was your expectation?
Yeah, once again, I think I think it all goes back to your previous experiences, both here and elsewhere, even going back further than that as a player, of thinking about things from a standpoint of parameters of what the role and responsibilities are of the players we're going to bring in here. How do we as coaches best, project that to Kwesi and his staff, and make sure that everybody's on the same page of the intent to bring a player in, and I thought the dialogue from the coaching staff to Kwesi and his staff as far as the desire to get these players here was really, really good, and it speaks to kind of what we've built in this building, that we can have that kind of dialogue. And it all also goes back to smart, tough guys that love football and want to be great teammates, because those guys, like I said, tend to do pretty well here. Then you start talking about role, fit, scheme, and the fact that I think all these guys are really good football players that we brought in, and how they meshed with the guys that were already here is a credit to the locker room, much more so than just the scheme and what we ask them to do. It's what's it like on a daily basis for these players to try to be the best versions of themselves.